Hey, what's going on, everybody? We're back with our BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything. We're joined by a good friend of the Reddit, Gabby Roman. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Good. Your fight is finally announced. Like we
Yeah.
were about to break the news because we was getting one of those things so sick of waiting, and then I literally checked an hour before the show starts. I check and it's on there, so it's out there. So we're not breaking news.
Yeah, no, it was done. It was done perfectly. So,
You're about a month away. When did you know that you were going to be on the Montana card so you could start getting into camp?
honestly, maybe like a week.
5 weeks. I feel like that's a little short for a camp, especially if they want you to compete at like a high level. Like, or do
Yeah,
you?
I mean, what it's on. Yeah, I guess, but bare knuckle's always been different. So, the pace alone, obviously, the fighting, just everything, the whole process has been a whole lot different than any other fighting platform. So, I'm not, you tend to get used to things.
Are you one of those people that stays basically in shape, or do you know that there's like a big difference between like fight Gabby and like just hanging out Gabby?
So the shape thing is yes, but it depends on where like division I'm fighting because you know that
Yeah.
um I've done the catch weight of 139. I did well obviously the 125, but this fight is at the weight that I'm supposed to be fighting, which is 115. So this one's definitely a big weight cut. Um it's more of a mental thing. It's like it's there's a different mentality because it's your job. You're constantly training. You're constantly doing what you need to do to make sure you're ready. But then you're in that mindset like, oh, like I got a fight coming up. So it's different. It's more of a you. I don't know. For me personally, I tend to zone out a lot more during training, and obviously not when my coach is telling me to do something. I mean, like jump roping, shadow boxing. Like I'm a very visual person, and I visualize a lot of the fight moments. I'm sure a lot of fighters do the same thing. So for me, it's more of a difference in mental.
You're fighting someone who has a win in BKFC, but they also don't have a lot of experience. There's a lot of tape on you, not a lot on her per se. Or is that have you been studying much? Like, are you looking for MMA fights or anything? Or are you kind of like you watched her bare knuckle and she's not going to change a whole lot, so you're just going to study that one fight?
So I did see her fight when she first
Correct.
fought. I actually watched that card because I
Okay.
know both of them they're women. So as soon as I see women fighting in BKFC, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna watch because obviously, But as far as studying and all that stuff, I've never really been one to do that. I have been offered a lot of fights these past couple of months from different organizations, and some of them I've actually take interest in, me and my team.
Sure.
But we're obviously are the priorities in BKFC. So there's gonna be news like in the next couple of months dropping for other things that when the time comes I'll be announcing. But for right now, we're just rocking with BKFC, and that's always gonna be the priority.
It's kind of interesting because if you're not holding a belt, BKFC is usually pretty open to you fighting outside as long as it's not bare knuckle. So it's one of those things like if you get a belt, it's great that you have the belt, but it also kind of limits you. And it seems like we're seeing some of these fighters that are like, I have no interest in like Mike Perry, for instance, no interest in a belt at all because he wants to be able to fight boxing, wants to be able to potentially fight MMA, he wants to do his own thing. So is the belt the ultimate goal for you? Or I know you're a mom and you have kids and you need, put food on the table. Like, is it just fighting as much as you can and making as much money as you can while you can?
Honestly, man, like since I'm trying to do whatever it is that God wants me to do. I'm constantly praying to God. It's like if you don't want me here, then just take me out. Like just make it, because I don't I want to just do what I'm supposed to be doing. And I feel like right now fighting is that. As far as like where and specifically, I'm open to it. I want to be able to represent correctly.
Sure.
I my first pro fight for boxing well in the US was bare knuckle,
Right.
so it's like it's basically where I made my home. So I feel like BKFC is always gonna have a place in my heart. I'm always gonna have a sense of like, damn, this is like, that's why aside from contract, I was like BKFC is definitely a priority. But I am a mother and I am gonna do what's best or what I feel like is best for me and my family. So if my team tells me like, listen, this isn't this isn't a really good choice, or this is a good opportunity for you, you should take it, it'll definitely benefit you and your family, then I'm gonna listen.
How is your new? The last time we talked, I think you were at the new gym. I can't remember if you started at the new gym or you were almost about to start at the new. I think this is this your first fight at the new gym or
Yes, so I've done a little bit of more than just one switching. I went from my team before to another coach that I actually knew a couple years back to another coach that
okay.
I also knew a couple years back. So it was somewhat familiar. It's not like completely new faces. Again, it's just a lot of praying and like, God, please just help me. Like, I don't know. Again, that's what I said before. If this is what you want me to do, then please. Like, I've been trying really hard to not to to make sure that not only obviously fighting, that I market myself correctly, but my most important goal is for me to be good spiritually. And if things are gonna conflict or put me in a position where it's like, all right, this might not be, it's not easy for me to be able to focus, or I'm having a lot of distractions here, or whatever the case is, like I feel like this isn't right with my walk, or if it's not good for my walk with God, then I just want to like keep it moving, and thank God, this isn't, again, I'm familiar with this team at Driven, and Honda, who's my coach from Hit 'em
Okay.
Up. And I've known these people a couple years back, actually, when me and the boys were in the shelter, and we were jumping from Nicatones to Driven because they were associated. So I'm familiar with them, but these are men of God. These are men that I feel like I can trust, and I do trust. And the chemistry that I have with these men, especially Hondo, is unfamiliar, but in a good unfamiliar. And it's just different. I see myself constant, and I feel myself constantly happier and more at peace, and the style alone as well. Um, my coach Hansel likes to say, because I used to like, I shit you not, like right before I started going completely all for Driven, I was doing like 16 3-minute rounds with 30-second rest of pad work,
Wow.
with and I'm not even exaggerating, like
Sure.
when I say that. And then when I first went to Driven, I did 2 rounds with Coach Hondo, and I couldn't breathe, bro. I was like, what the hell is going on right now? It was like, I felt like, I was like, damn, bro. I felt like, you know how, like, oh man, I don't know. I felt like a just a complete rookie, and like I just didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was both. It was so conflicting emotionally. Like I was both very happy and grateful, but also pissed the fuck off because I'm like, damn, I wasted so much time,
Sure.
and like, and not wasted time, but it's just, and again, what my coach likes to say is there's different styles. Every coach has a different styles. It's not that there's a wrong style or a wrong type of thing. It's just his style, it works better for me. It also forces me to use more, I guess, of hips, so your abs and things like that. And I was always a puncher who used more of my arm, my upper body strength. So now that I'm
Okay.
being forced and changing a lot of the footwork and all of that good stuff, it's more exhausting. I feel like I've been half-assing my training this entire time. It's crazy. And again, it's only difference of styles, and I'm just grateful that God aligned me with these people, because I feel like this is truly just the beginning, and I haven't even hit my prime yet. So I'm so grateful, and I'm so excited.
It's interesting that a lot of you fighters are starting to like when you come into BKFC, you've got the one coach, and like sometimes that coach isn't down with BKFC, doesn't want anything to do with the bare knuckles, so they're not going to teach. We talked to a former opponent of yours and now friend, Courtney, and she was at a gym and she liked the gym, but she went to a new gym and she said it's just a peace of mind and the way they train. And it sounds like you're in a very similar situation now, where it's just like your mind is clear and you're focused, and like it sounds like this could be like the perfect storm, Bruin. You're gonna be amazing.
Yeah, and there's, again, like, it's not just different styles, and when you go through different, I guess, I'm you're growing as a person as well, especially because, like I said, God is constantly working through me in my life. I feel like this is truly where I'm gonna be able to do whatever it is that He wants me to do. And again, right now it's definitely fighting. So I'm very happy.
How important was it for you to get to a fight at 115, like to finally fight at 115? Like, I mean, like this is your weight division. Are you still open to kind of floating around, or like enough is enough? You want to pick the weight class and stay there?
So open to floating, absolutely. But right now, no. I want to rock in, of course. Listen, so I can't say yes without my team's yes, right?
Sure.
And but to be fair, my Coach Hondo said that he definitely likes how I don't have to cut. I don't have to cut much weight to fight at 125.
Okay.
But again, there's a process of doing things. You know, you want to gain the experience, which is the same thing that Jules told me in the beginning. You want to gain the experience, so you want to start off where you're supposed to be at. So 115 is definitely where we're going to be rocking for a bit, but I'm ranked in 125, so I definitely see myself rocking at 125 again once it's right for me and my family. So but I'm definitely with it, like and I can't wait to talk to you in a couple more months about everything else, because that has to do with weight classes and all that good stuff and other places. So it's gonna be a long fun ride.
Okay, so your last fight was against Jade. Jade is a maniac. We saw her fight Misfit. That was a pretty lackluster fight. Did you watch the fight yet or no?
I didn't. I didn't watch it. I didn't see anything. I saw all the comments and all the stuff. I saw what Mr. Fieldman said, and I saw a lot of the other stuff. And then obviously I got input from other people who watched it. So I didn't see it. I can't say because I didn't see it. So I have no idea.
I was just wondering if you were like, "Hey, Jade, how come you didn't try to clinch me the whole time?" You know what I mean? Like Jade, she had a completely different game plan, and
Well,
then
I mean, to be fair, she didn't have, I didn't give her an opportunity to clench me, you know? Like
right, right.
I went, that was my fault at the end of the day. So that's something that if God aligns it, I definitely want a rematch. But right now, I'm gonna rock at 115, and I don't really see how it's fair to even ask for one, considering how the fight had
Sure.
went. You know what I mean? So I have to earn my way back to that.
Okay, so we're from the 80s and 90s. So American Tail, Fievel goes west. It's Gabby goes west all the time. What is up with you and heading out to the West Coast? Like, do you not want to fight out there, or like do you just like love to travel and so you'll take the fights on the West?
Yeah, I love to travel, and it's wherever, if it makes sense. I really don't care where it is. So and traveling is, for me, it's like a part of the benefit. I know a lot of their fighters, and it makes sense, like, the airplanes, the altitudes, the time differences, the freak everything has an effect on the fighter, and which isn't most of the time good for you trying to fight, you know what I mean? But I really don't give a crap about that. Like, I'm so happy when I get to see these different places and these different cultures, and after the fight I get to taste these food, like I'm really, it's something that I always wanted to do, and I'm able to do it with fighting. So I love it. I love it so much.
When you went to Canada, it seemed like a lot of people had issues flying up there. Did you have any travel? Like, I know the one guy had like a 24-hour layover and they couldn't land. Did you have any issues, or you were able to get in fine?
Bro, we were running. We literally had to run. So we literally ran from one plane all the way to like the other side of the terminal, from, I think it was when we stopped in Edmonton, trying to go from Edmonton to, no, not from Edmonton, from Toronto,
Oh, okay.
trying to go to Edmonton. We literally ran. And I'm not exact. I mean, like, yo, that's probably one of the ways that I was stressing about weight for that fight. I don't know if you guys noticed. I was stressed out because I was overweight, and my coach at that time kept telling me, he was like, "Don't worry about it. Like, you're gonna be fine, and
Sure.
you're gonna be good." And I was just stressed the fuck out. I was so stressed about it. And then I ended up coming in 3 pounds under, and I was like, "What the hell?" Like, so I was like, "Shit!" Like, but yeah, no, the flying out there was definitely a pain in the ass. And then when we got there, we were outside in a fucking van, cold as hell. Sorry for the
Yeah.
language.
Oh, you're all right.
Super cold for like a while, and I mean like cold to where we couldn't feel our freaking toes, bro. Like it was waiting for other fighters and people to show up, so it was definitely a pain in the ass. It was a pain in the ass.
It's
So
one of those that you don't think they'll probably ever do a Canada in the middle of winter again. But I mean, it sounds like it was a good experience. Otherwise, did you have fun in Canada?
yeah, I did. I had a lot of fun. I was a little stressed out with certain things that were going on, and certain home things that were happening at that time. But my coach was trying really hard to get my mind off it, and trying to help me focus better. But um, it is what it is now. So
Okay, so now you're heading to Montana. Like, have you ever been to Montana? Like, I hear great things about. Is it Billings? Is where the fight's at? I believe it's Billings.
I have no idea. Yeah, I
I,
just know Montana.
I believe it's Billings. I hear nothing but really good things. It seems like it's a really beautiful town. So, like, have you ever been to Montana, or is this your first time?
No, I'm unfortunately the only other place, again, other than like New Mexico and stuff, in Puerto Rico. I've never been anywhere really in the United States.
Okay,
So that's really, oh, in LA. Well, for fighting is different, because you fly
sure,
out. It's not like they're paying for other days for you to stay there.
right.
And again, depending on what you're going through, circumstance, I get really car sick and plane sick.
Me
So
too.
I end up having to sleep for the whole flight. And I shit you not, like I can't take no pills. I'll literally wake up, be like, oh, we're not there yet, and then go back to sleep with a mint in my mouth because it helps with the nauseousness. So the whole flight itself, it's like either drags or it kind of goes very quickly.
All
But
right.
you don't get much time to really explore. So
Let's talk car sickness. Like, I'm one of those people, if I'm not driving, I have to sit in the front seat because I have to be looking. Because if I sit in the back seat, I will freaking throw up. And I can't
yeah.
be, I can be on my phone a little bit in the front seat, but if I'm in the back, if I look down, I want to throw up all over. I don't know where it's like. How about you?
No, same. I'm the freaking same. If I'm not driving, we're screwed. Like I have to try to sleep. Like that's always the method that I try to take is all right. I'm gonna close my eyes and try to knock out till we get to wherever the hell we're going. I hate it. I hate it so much. I've always been like that since I was little. Even in Puerto Rico, we used to go to Puerto Rico a lot. And the mountains. We live in the campo, so we were going through like the jungle and shit. And going up mountains, you got like it's not a smooth ride. So
Sure.
so we're out. I'll have to stick my head out because it was a Jeep and obviously it's hot, open on the side. I'll stick my little head out and just throw up while the car is driving. I shit you not every single time. So that car sick is no joke and it's been there forever. So
Okay. Have you done anything? I mean, I know you're in a new camp, but is there anything new that you're putting into this training camp? Like it sounds like you're like really focusing on clearing your mind because it sounds like that kind of may have been. Is like, are you working meditation into it, or like I said, is there anything new that you're putting into this camp?
not really, just new. So since my coach has a very new style, so it's a lot of just adjusting. It's a lot of adjusting and trying to learn how to use what I have better and technique and more technique. So I'm not sure how much of it will show in this fight, but I guarantee, and I told my coach too. So there's a Philly card that BKFC had announced that there
Yeah,
was
I'm going to
somewhat of
ask
a
you about that.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll wait.
No, you're good.
So,
No, go ahead,
so
please.
okay. So I since the timeline of this fight is November 9th, I, God willing, and Jules had told me that they want to put me on that Philly card because one is so close to home and I can actually
Yeah.
get people and family to go over there. Um, and after that, I told my coach, I was like, listen, after that fight, if we do end up getting on that card, I want to take a couple months off because I want to focus on continuing learning how to adjust and work on the technique and just focusing on really putting that into muscle memory because at the end of the day, all of that is muscle memory. But you got to get those reps in. You got to get those reps in, and I want to just get those reps in. So I'm gonna do this fight, and if I get that next fight, then cool, awesome. But like, I really just want to continue just putting my all into training because I already know, like, the heart has been there. The heart,
Mhm.
the not giving a crap, that whole thing that the fighters have that you need, especially for bare knuckle. But as far as the boxing, the IQ, and everything else, I I'm finally starting to understand it more, and I just can't imagine the fighter I'm going to be in another 6 months, and I can't wait. So I'm really excited.
Okay, so you mentioned Philly. They actually announced Philly before Montana, and I was one of the people that was pushing. I was like, you'd be perfect for it. Was there any consideration in saying like, no, I don't want to do Montana, or were you just trying to take any fight at this point, or did they say we'd prefer if you did this? And
Jules, she said since this fight is so early that she might be able to get me on the next one.
okay,
So I was like, all right, cool. Well, that sounds good then. At least I'll have this fight, and we'll see how this one ends, because we don't know as far as healing and all of that stuff. I'm not really trying to, not disrespect my opponent. But if everything goes according to plan, then God willing, I'll be able to go to the next fight on the Philly card, and that's definitely a goal of mine. So especially again, since it's so free, I'm going regardless. I don't even care if I'm on the card. It's right there. Like
right.
there's no way I'm missing that card. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. So I definitely want to be on that card. But the plan is to do this fight, win or lose, be on that card as well. So
So do you feel like, I mean, it's in January, so that'll be enough of like give you a week or two off, or like you'll fight and then as soon as your hands are clear, if everything goes according to plan, you go in there and you start your whatever, like does it take a week off or it's immediately back in the gym Monday so you can prepare for that fight?
so there's shadow boxing. There's certain things that training wise that I can do that don't really require for me to actually hit anything.
Okay.
So I'm assuming, like, me seeing and knowing more and more and learning more how my coaches are, I'm assuming they're gonna be like, listen, take a week off. But me being who I am, I'm gonna be like, nah, I'll see you tomorrow, like flying in. So but especially because if I am gonna be, if it's like looking like 90%, like Jules is about to send me that contract for that fight, then yeah, no, I'm definitely going right back in either way. If not, then because I can say yes, but at the end of the day, if my coaches say don't show the hell up to the gym and go rest, then like, I'll
Yeah.
do what I can at home. But but we all know that that's not the same type of training. So yeah, I'm just I don't really know how to answer that. I gotta wait.
How big would it be to be able to have your boys come to the fight and have your family and stuff? Like, is that like a huge consideration, or does it make you a little nervous because bare knuckle is kind of crazy? Like, would you have no problem bringing the boys to watch you fight, or is it one thing that you probably leave them home again?
I wouldn't want them to go, not because of the violence or any of that stuff. They're already watching me. It's
Sure.
more of keeping me keeping me in check emotionally, because if me they're I feel like if they're there, and I kind of won't really stick to the game plan. At least not,
Sure.
because look at what happened in my last fight, and then this is my first fight back. So, oh, you mean like the Philly card?
Yeah, yeah, the Philly card.
Oh, um, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It depends. Because my boys get me very hyped. So if my kids are there, I feel like I'm gonna be a lot more aggressive than maybe I should be. You know. So, and obviously bare knuckle, that's what we're about. But you have to be smart, aggressive, and if I hear them through the crowd, then I'm gonna end up like turning into fucking She-Hulk and just trying to smash. Like, I'm being so serious. um, I don't know. I don't know. I know eventually it's gonna happen. So it's the inevitable. So I guess I'll let you know. We'll definitely do another interview after that happens, and there's gonna be video, so we'll be able to post that stuff up too. So
How do you feel like I believe her last name's Lopez up there in Canada? She's kind of calling you out. She wants to fight you. It seems like you're kind of being the name. Like everybody at 115 kind of wants to take a shot at you. I think Crystal Van Veek, was like, "Hey, I'd like to fight you," and you're the name at 115 that people want to fight. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, you like it? Like, is it like
I
because you're
love
not a
it.
shit talker? You're not like you know what I mean? Like, so it's fine with it.
I love it. It makes it easier for me. I'm not a shit talker. So the fact that these women, and they're being very respectful, they're not even being jerks. She actually messaged me. So she messaged me. She was like, "Hi, I like you. I respect you." And I was like, "Hi, I like you too. Thank you." And she was like, "I want to fight you. There's a card in December." I was like, "I would love to, but I'm already fighting in November." I was like, so I said yes. She said yes. But unfortunately, I have this fight, and my next fight is in Philly. And I did say yes to Crystal. I love Crystal. I love that they're calling me out, because at the end of the day, that's what that's our job. We're supposed to be fighting. I find it as I don't know why I haven't even started in 115.
Yeah,
But I mean, again, God is just setting shit up left and right. I appreciate it because it just makes things easier. I want to be able to fight and continue growing and gaining and getting closer and closer to, the title. And that's what I should be doing, is fighting and fighting and fighting and earning my way up. So I'm very grateful for it, for sure. I don't find it offensive, even when they're being disrespectful. Not them particularly, like other people.
sure.
I don't really like, I don't, it's cool. All right, cool. Let's fight. That's my problem. That's when I was offered a fight on 2-day notice recently, and I told my coach, I was like, I want to do it. I want to do it. He was like, see, like, and it was and it was at 140. I was offered
Yeesh.
that fight. Yeah, and I didn't, me, I didn't give a crap. I was like, I want to do it. I want to do it. Can I do it, please? I was like, I'm already, because at this, I'm always in the gym. I'm always
Yeah,
training. So he was like, look, Gabby, honestly, for me, it's a no. And I was like, fuck. So, but I've made it a point to be good and to respect. And I have to trust my coaches. I have to trust the process. And if my team is telling me no, then it's a no. And but that's what makes us, I guess, any real fighter's been like, yeah, let's go. Like, it doesn't matter if the person has whatever, or if they're this much bigger than you. You're a fighter, you're gonna want to freaking do it. You're not gonna think no. You're gonna think like, all right, when and where? Like, where where do we have to go? Where are we meeting? Where are we doing this? What do I need to do this? But that's why we need the people around us that are, who care about us, who care
sure.
enough to be like, listen, this is not good for you. This is not smart for you and your family. You want to be able to do this as a career and to support you guys. This isn't a smart move. So that's why, again, I'm grateful for the people that I have around me, because I know that I can trust them. So, he said no, I said yes, and at the end of the day, it was a no. So, but I'm happy because then I got this fight.
Yeah. It's crazy though that you need people to protect you because you have that warrior spirit. And like I feel like someone could be like, "Hey, we got one at 165," and you'd be like, "Let me throw a couple water bottles and a hoodie on, and we'll go jump." Like that's just who you are, which is so crazy. And I'm so glad that you're fighting at 115 because, like 140 is a lot of weight, and and it's not like you're this bulky,
Yeah,
woman,
I
like
know.
so. I really like your coach even more. Like he's keeping you
Yeah,
keeping you
no.
reeled in.
Yeah, they're, I'm telling you, they're freaking amazing. Like, they're amazing. And then once you guys actually start seeing again, slowly but surely, and I even feel like in this fight it's gonna be able to show something, but show change, excuse me, style wise. Um but I can't wait to show the progress and to show how much work we've been really putting in. And I'm just grateful. I'm trying my hardest to represent, to take heed to everything that they teach me and he teaches me. And he's very patient, he's very kind. I feel bad for the amount of times he has to repeat himself, So I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, why am I not? Because I usually pick up things a lot faster. I
Yeah.
picked this up very quickly. But this stuff, I'm like, shit, I'm not doing it. And then he tells me to do something. And then I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. And then I don't fucking do it. I'm like, what the hell? Like, I know I'm supposed to do this shit. Why am I not doing it? So, but he's very patient. He's very understanding. He's very calm. He understands. They're like, I'm very grateful for the place that I'm at right now. So I already know we're gonna go very far, God willing. But I have zero doubt. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited. I feel like the timing couldn't have been better.
Does your coach have much bare knuckle experience, or it's more of like a boxing thing? Like, do you train with any bare knuckle fighters, or like you the only one there?
He has a friend who just recently, who I think recently got offered a contract with bare knuckle, but he's boxing experience is crazy. So
Okay.
he's been doing it for, I know it's been over a decade, well over a decade. He's got more of an old school type of like not philosophy, of mindset style.
Mentality. Yeah.
Yes. So that old school works really good with bare knuckle.
Yeah.
But obviously he knows we're in bare knuckle, so he knows the little things. He's even creative. I'm not gonna give too much information, but he's even thinking about other things too, that he's trying to see, like, oh, I wonder, I feel like this will work and this will work. Like, he's playing around with it and he's loving it. He's loving it.
Awesome.
It's definitely, it's a good, it's a really good like a really good dynamic. So as far as bare knuckle, I am his first official bare knuckle fighter. But I'm not sure if his boy's going to be coming over. His boy is very well experienced. Just tried out in for the tryouts in, crap. Where was those tryouts?
Utah or like
I
closer?
think it was Utah. Yes, his boy is friends with Brit Hart, so
Okay.
she was the one who said, it's a close circle, but officially I am for now his only bare knuckle. But yeah, we're having fun with this. So
Okay, I don't have a whole lot more, but like when after you make weight, are you doing the ice cream again? Like that's your favorite cheat, right? Is vanilla ice cream or no?
no, but no cheat, because if I am gonna fight on Philly, it's straight back to work. I've this is so much work, and it's not ice cream because I had promised my kids. So listen, hold on, I had to, because I had like no self control a couple months back. So
Okay,
so
I can't hear you.
oh, I'm sorry. So
There you
hold
go.
on, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
About like a couple months ago, I kept going on this bench for ice cream, and I found out one of the side effects for a concussion was depression. And I didn't freaking know that, and so a couple months ago, I guess I was overeating. I was eating my feelings,
Okay.
and I kept going straight for ice cream, because that's my thing. So I kept going straight for ice cream and brownies and stuff like that. And I was sitting there working, training, and still training and talking about wanting to fight. And then my kids, of course, being my kids, they're like, "Mom, you're not supposed to be eating that, right? Mom, that's not good for you, right? Mom, but you say this and then you do this." And I'm like, "Fuck, man!" Like I was like, you know what? You're right. The next time I'll have ice cream is when I in either 5 years or when I retire, whichever one comes first. So as far as ice cream goes, I can't have it. I've been off of it for a couple months now, and I'm gonna stay true to my word and my promise, and I'll have other cheats, I guess, but as far as after this fight, no, because I want to be ready and stay ready for the Philly card. So if that does happen, and even after, I want to just be true to this. I don't want to really have to work back after all the hard work that I'm putting in, but my team is investing in me. My kids. It makes me feel like a hypocrite, honestly. Like sitting there, even like going and doing those things, and me sitting there telling my kids like, "Oh, this is poison. This is not good for you," and I don't know. I've been trying to change a lot. So we'll see. We'll see. As far as cheating go, maybe I'll have like a banana nut muffin or something. So
Okay. You mentioned it. It's one of those things like I knew about it, but I would never tell anybody. But you mentioned concussion. You got a concussion after your last fight. Like, like, how long did it take to heal from it? Like, are you okay now? Like, did you like you sometimes you hear like a football player, oh, he got a concussion, he's playing the next week. Could you have fought earlier, but you just wanted to take the extra time off so your brain could feel better or heal all the way? Like what was the story with that? I can't hear you again.
I'm sorry.
You
Is that
good?
better?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So you're supposed to take off at least 6 months.
sure.
6 months. I was trying really hard to do it, and when I tell you, I was offered so many, even with Bare Knuckle offered me
I can't hear you again. Uh, try again.
Is that better?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. So I had to take at least 6 months off. Um, uh, Technically, but I mean, I could have gone. It depends, like on how the severity went, But honestly, I don't want to get into too much about
Sure.
the the that part because it's a little bit complicated. But I was offered a bunch of fights even right after, even by bare knuckle, but I couldn't take it because of the healing. So I was trying to be patient. I didn't want to take a fight and then me go into the fight and then me get like a light tap or something, and then me end up getting knocked the hell out off of nothing that I can usually take, but because I was a dumbass and I didn't heal properly, I ended up
Sure.
like, so it was a lot into it. It was a lot of being patient, trying to be smart, not not letting a lot my me get to me. So I did at least 6 months. I had to, like, that was in my brain. At least 6 months. At least 6 months. Like, if you are serious about this, or if you are gonna take this serious, if you want to do this as long as possible, at least 6 months. It was a lot of trying to convince myself and remind myself that this is just part of the process. So if you're gonna do this, you got to do this. If this happens, this is what you need to do.
how are you able to kick the depression though? Because you talked about it. Like I feel like a lot of people wouldn't talk about it. Like, oh, a concussion is a side effect in depression and stuff. Like how were you able to get rid of that? Was it one of those things like it just medication or working out? Like, you start feeling better? Do you surround yourself with better people? Like how were you able to kick it?
It's being aware of it because it was unusual for me. Obviously, we've all been depressed in our life, but it was weird because I didn't know that what I was feeling or
I
what I
can't
was
hear
going.
you. Oh, there we go.
I didn't know that I was depressed. It was
It's
I was gaining weight.
I can't hear you.
Why isn't this working?
It sounds like it's like sinking into like water and then it'll like I have no idea what's going on.
I'm
Try to talk.
sorry.
No, you're good. There we go. You're good. It,
Good.
it, it
Okay.
literally, yeah, it literally is like towards the end. So at least it wasn't the whole time.
Okay. It was weird for me because I wasn't aware that I was going through depression when I was
Sure.
happening. Like, remember I just said the whole ice cream thing.
Hmm.
That was because I was depressed. I was kind of eating it. So me, when I guess when I go through things, I either overeat or I don't eat.
Okay.
And I was overeating like crazy. But since I was still training and I was still working out, I was gaining a lot more muscle. So it was difficult, but also I was noticing that I mean, also a side effect of a concussion, I was sleeping way more. So
Okay.
I was trying so hard to fight that. But beating it is just being aware. It's understanding like, shit, like, all right, this isn't me. This is just a side effect. This is gonna pass. And then like it's a lot of self reminding. It's keeping yourself in check. Like you have to just constantly remind yourself, and then it just goes away. Like it's really just a consistency. I don't really know how to explain it. And I prayed so fucking much. I prayed so much because it was so hard, and I felt like even at times when I was sleeping so much, I felt like such a bad mom. And then the fact that I was eating more than what I knew that I was supposed to be doing, because I was walking around, even if I was muscular, I got really muscular. I have pictures that I posted and things like that in the gym, and I was freaking brolic as shit. And you see me, but I was depressed at those moments, like I should have never been that big. I've never walked around that big, like, that's
Sure.
why in every single one of my fights I always came in underweight, because like, it crawl, like we were supposed to be fighting 125, I was 121 pounds, like,
Right.
or less. Like I was always very a light skinny girl. So it was really hard, but again, it was a lot of the reminding and having people pray for me, and um just checking up on me, and just being like, hey, you good, bro? Like, you gonna come to the gym, like things like that, so
Sure.
it was it's definitely, it's not easy. It's not, but with, I don't know. It was rough. It's really fucking hard. Especially being a woman, we're so emotional. It's fucking sucks. It sucked so
Sure.
much. So
Well, I appreciate you being so open and honest about it. Like I said, it was one of those things like I wasn't sure if you were ever going to tell people. So like I made sure to never say anything. But like I also feel like it's one of those things like I feel like there's probably other fighters out there who've got a concussion and they're like, I don't want to talk about it and I gotta kind of keep it hidden and stuff like that. And like it's great to be
yeah.
able to like say, hey, you gotta take care of yourself, you know what I mean? And like be aware that, like just so you know.
There'd be things. Yeah. What's scary is that I've seen so many fighters. I never knew until this happened, because this is the first time it ever happened to me. I've never knew until this happened where that being depression was like an actual side effect of having a concussion. And when I found that out, I was like, what the hell? Are you serious? I didn't believe it. And
Sure.
but obviously, and I'm like, what? Like, that's scary. Like, it's just, and then because you being a fighter and then losing is already a damn,
Oh
like,
yeah.
and when you're doing this for your family, it's harder, or when you're trying to do this, it's just, and can you imagine all the, especially men, like, not taking anything away from women, because we're emotional beings, but men tend to hold a lot of that shit in. So like, thinking about it for other fighters and things like that, like, can you imagine what these people go through, not knowing that this is a side effect? Like, you're fine, you're good, you didn't do anything wrong, it's okay to lose, but like, I feel like this needs to be more known, because like, we need to be there for everybody, but for fighters who are
I can barely hear you. There you go.
hold on. Okay, sorry.
There you go.
But I just feel like that's something that definitely should be more aware, like
Sure.
for people and loved ones to be able to be on top of their loved ones who are coming off of brain things like that or concussions or like, so just to help them and be there, and God forbid, because the suicide rate, especially now in time, like, and
Sure.
it could have been prevented if you would have known, like, you're okay, this is just a side effect, like, you're fine, you're doing nothing wrong, like, it's just, this is something that you're going through because you had a concussion or you had this brain injury, like, and everything is fine, like, you have so much to be positive for. Like, I feel like that it was scary finding out that that was an actual side effect, and a lot of people just didn't know about that, because I told family, I told friends, I was like, did you know this? And they were like, what? And
Right.
I'm like, even other fighters that like, team members and things like that, I'm like, did you know depression is this? And they're like, what? Like, it's scary how much people don't understand or know that that's an actual side effect. So that shit needs to, I hope this shit gets around, because that, like, it's hard. This life is already hard for a lot of people, especially with everything that's going on and everything. Everybody goes through their own thing. So, but like, with that happens, like, I feel like, be there, just be there, be on top of their ass. Like, you don't know, especially, again, because men tend to hold things in. They tend to
Sure.
take things harder, and they're doing this for, they're sole providers of their families and all of these things, like, and they're already at this, statistically speaking, like, that shit's scary. So I feel like that's definitely something that should be more out there. So, but other than that, it's just crazy.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I appreciate like that was like, it's so fun to talk fighting, but like when you can have like a deep conversation about that, like I feel like that's stuff that needs to be brought up. So like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna make me like, one thing I hate is I will like I was talking to Yates yesterday, and he goes, what hurts is when everybody loves you when you're winning and you have a loss, and then suddenly you go to talk to that person, they unfollowed you, and then they don't want to talk to you, and like, oh, be on my show before your fight, and then after you're like, hey, can I be on the show? Oh no, we ain't got time. And it's so crazy how people turn on, like, so it just makes you want to, like, you're like I said, I've talked to fighters before, and they're like, hey, I'm sorry I lost. And I'm like, what do you have to be sorry to me about? There's like nothing, you know what I mean? Like I'm sorry that like, but it's crazy how much you guys like take it to heart, and then the bad stuff that comes of it. So like I said, I'm glad that we're able to talk about it and like kind of.
You're absolutely right. That's one of the reasons why, and I know a lot of people have taken this the wrong way when I say it, but because I love my supporters, but I don't do it for my supporters. Like, the people
Sure.
who support me and things like that, because like you said, people come and go. Like, if I'm not fighting, I'm not winning, and then, like, I just drop off of this fight game, like, who's gonna really be there? The same people that I was doing this for. So, like, we shouldn't, the motives are concerns. That doesn't mean you can't care. That doesn't mean you can't reach out and show your appreciation. But just don't rely on those things. Don't make it about those things. Don't crave it. Don't need it. Don't let it be your fuel. Don't even, like, just keep it in check. So, like, but when I tend to say, don't do it for your fans, don't do it for your supporters, people take that shit the wrong way, and that's not what I mean. Like, that's really not what I mean. Like, support is great. That's why I don't like using the word fans. Support, because if they truly support you, they'll be there.
Absolutely.
So, but you're absolutely right. These people go through a lot enough already in life, and then just to be treated like that after just losing, which is part of the job. It sucks.
Yeah.
It's so hard. These poor people.
All right. Well, Gabby, go get a win in Montana, but win or lose, we're going to talk to you again. But like I said, I hope everything goes great for you, and we get to see you on the Philly card, and we're talking again, and like, we'll find out what your new cheat dessert is. It can't be a banana nut muffin or whatever. It's got to be something better than that, but no ice cream.
You gotta give me some ideas. You know what? Wasn't didn't I could have sworn your wife made some she made apple fuck no, what is it, jam?
Yeah,
She was
yeah. She
making,
makes.
didn't she make jam?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'll throw some of that on some toast, bro. That
Okay.
sounds rocking.
It's I was doing an interview with Houston the other day, and we finished, and he goes, hey, can your wife come on? And I was like, yeah, hang on. So I went and got her, and he goes, hey, could you send me a chocolate cake? Because he knows that she
Oh my
bakes.
god.
It's just so crazy that, like, like the fighters know Belinda as the person who cooks for them.
Yeah, I
So,
love her so much. She's such a boss, bro. Yeah, she's such a boss.
all right. Well, we look forward to talking to you again. Thanks so much for your time, and good luck.
Thank you. Love being with you guys. Be
See
safe.
ya. Bye.